I've been asked to speak on the fourth industrial revolution. Okay, you probably have heard ad nauseum what the first revolution was, second, third, and fourth. But just to say from Africa's perspective, the first industrial revolution, Africa was in slavery. The second industrial revolution, we were colonized. The third one, which was at the dawn of the new democracy in South Africa, we were globalized. Okay, as if that is good. But in the fourth industrial revolution, which is where we're in, and I know people are talking about preparing for the fourth industrial revolution as if it's something that is lurking in the horizon. It is with us. But instead, what are we doing with it? Are we just using it just to being on WhatsApp groups or whatever? But it's the thing that we need to talk about. Just some quick jargon. I know I've heard some acronyms on manned aviation, which is nice. We also have our own acronyms. RPAS is a technical term that CIA uses for remotely piloted aircraft. Scientifically, it's an unmanned aerial vehicle. It's not a UFO. ROC is a remote operating certificate given to a commercial operator. Unmanned traffic management is a new term that you're probably going to hear about. RPL is it's our form of licensing. Yes, you have to have a license. VTOL, vertical takeoff and landing, future aircraft. You're not going to need a runway because aircrafts are going to take vertically and land vertically. BVLOS, you hear about it, beyond vision line of sight. And right now, CAA licenses certain operators to fly beyond vision line of sight. Extended vision line of sight and RLA. This is basically airworthiness for a particular drone. And ATO, accredited training organizations, ASL. If you want to operate as a commercial operator, you've got to get this from the Department of Transport before you get the ROC from CAA. Part 101 is the part of regulation that deals with drones. Okay, some key regulations for us. No operations above 400 feet. Still don't know why they use 400 feet, but they still use feet instead of meters. No takeoff or landing on public road. No operations in controlled airspaces. No BVLOS night operation unless approved by CAA, obviously. No operations within 10 kilometers of an aerodrome. No operation directly ahead of people, 50 meters. All commercial operations must be through an ROC holder, and all the operations must be carried out by RPL holder, which means whoever flies a drone commercially has to be licensed. Okay, I was talking to a young lady yesterday, and she says to me, that doesn't mean you can fly a drone. I says, yeah, you can fly a drone. CA has made it, the regulations are progressive enough for you to be able to do that. Let's look at this industry, because it is an industry, it's growing. Those blue dots, they show you where the industry is growing. Unfortunately, Africa is still lagging behind, but South Africa, thanks to the regulations of 2015, this market is growing rapidly. It's growing in areas like construction, mining, agriculture, surveying, and real estate. And then you can ask yourself, is this really an aviation industry? It's everywhere. We're in agriculture, we're in mining, we're in all of these industries, and they're growing very rapidly. Exponential growth, commercial drones in the US growing by up to 600,000 by 2022. Sorry, I'm just going to rattle through this. I'll show you the South African stats. South African stats, there's a study that was done by Kwasa back in 2017 saying we're contributing about 3 billion. There's a potential to go up to 24 billion in the next 10 years. And it was employing about 16,000 people with the potential to bring in another 40,000 jobs. The reason the drone industry is able to do that is because we've got very low barriers to entry. Okay, I know what you guys have to go through with your with your license, and still have to build the hours. Within the drone industry, within 6 to 8 weeks, you can get your license, and hopefully within the first 3 months, you could be earning an income. This was 2017 stats. I'm just going to run through because I want to get right into the accelerator. These are some of the industry players in the country. This is a Gartner hype cycle. Okay, every technology, it starts off as a technology trigger, and it moves into peak of inflated expectation. This is where technologies like 5G are there. Drones were there in 2016. And then you slide into what they call the trough of disillusionment. You know, this was a great technology. 4IR is going to move into this trough of disillusionment because there's great hype around it, and until such time that it doesn't provide the opportunities that people are looking for, we're going to move into that. But drones, we have bottom out. Now we are in what we call the slope of enlightenment. The industry is on a growth phase. Okay, there's the bad, there's the ugly of drones. And I know CIA is working hard on this. We call the bad guys fall into 3 categories. There's the clueless, there's the careless, and there's the downright criminal. Like the guy whoever it was, who basically caused a 20-minute delay at Wartime on Sunday. Okay, 20th December 2018, Gatwick Airport was shut down for 36 hours. One airline, EasyJet, lost 20 million pounds in just 36 hours. And I don't know what will happen to our Tambo if it were to be shut down because of that. Since Bobby, we've been engaging CIA, we've been engaging ATNS, we've been engaging also AXA, and we just want to get out there into the community and do some serious education, because the clueless and the careless, these are people who are serious. Some of them are doing commercial stuff and they don't have the ROC. Some of these are government entities. I know you've just grounded the city of Cape Town because they thought we buy drones, we train pilots, we can fly, you know. And you've also grounded the National Blood Service. After much hype, they can't fly because they're not following the due process. We're talking to the city of Durban, for instance, and KZN government, and you're saying, if you have to have a drone program, you need to, first of all, ask yourself, do you need a drone program? What is the problem that you're trying to solve? Because drones can solve some of this problem. There's encroachment into protected airspaces. We know that within 10-kilometer radius, you mustn't fly a drone. You can't fly a drone in Cape Town, okay? But some people will do that. But you can still fly under controlled circumstances, but that is also have to be approved by ATNS and also particularly CAA. It's an issue of national security. You know, something can become a safety issue. You know, I know you guys are very particular as far as aviation safety, but some of the things can move into the realm of national security. This is when the Air Force comes in. Because in Gatwick, for 3 days, they could pick up that there was some movement of drones. They could not tell what it is. This is why they had to shut down the airport. And they brought in the Air Force. The Air Force could not do anything. No, they first brought the UK Army. The UK Army didn't have the right equipment until they brought the Royal Air Force, which had the right equipment, and they were able to put in systems in place. It didn't end there. A couple of days after that, Heathrow had another stoppage. Same month in December, King Shaka Airport, where there was a drone sighting. Okay, I know you guys sometimes you see drones, sometimes you could see a flying plastic and think it's a drone, but okay. everything will be saying it's us, but there is a danger in it. Major risk of manned aircraft, you know, the drone as small as my fist, if it were to get into the engine, the results could be catastrophic. Okay, so this is a clear and present danger. We are also engaging, as probably in the Air Force, and saying, look, these things, I mean, in the Middle East right now, there's a serious war raging, which is a drone war. Lebanon is in, Americans started it. It's Lebanon in, Syria, Turkey, everybody is into this space, okay? Previously, in cybersecurity, okay, right today, if someone is flying a drone over your property and you call the police and say 10-111, okay, first of all, they're going to ask you, has somebody died? Is somebody injured? If you say no, it says, you know, do you have better things to do? SAPs at this point in time, they don't have a charge code for someone flying a drone illegally. Sometimes, probably they don't even know that this person is flying the drone illegally, which is creating a problem. I mean, my daughter was at the Ed Sheeran concert in March at F&B Stadium. There were a couple of drones that were flying there. Sometimes drones are used in search and rescue and emergency services, but some curious elements, they'll just decide, you know, I've got a drone, I just want to do this drone because, you know, whenever there's an injury, something bad happening, people still want to take pictures so that they can post. Okay, let's move, just talk about this accelerator program. I'm glad this year you spoke about masterclasses, I'll talk about that. But this accelerator program, because we believe that this industry can do what the manned aviation industry has struggled to do, you know, issues of transformation and all of those issues. We're saying we're still a young industry, we can't be talking transformation. We can basically build the industry from scratch because we are 4 years old as far as the legal industry is concerned. Okay, so we came up with this accelerator program. Okay, first of all, before I get into that, these are the major use cases of drones. Okay, drones are everywhere. Sorry, this is muddled up. There's security and surveillance, there's infrastructure inspection, smart cities, precision agriculture. You can actually do quite a lot with drones, with crop spraying. You can actually fly a drone autonomously to a crop field, and then it can tell you exactly where the infestation is, and then you can send another drone to basically do crop spraying as far as that's concerned. Human settlement. You can actually, municipalities, for instance, they hire aircraft every 2 years to fly over the city for the purposes of planning. I can fly a drone over an informal settlement on a weekly basis and can tell you on a weekly basis whether that informal settlement is grown by 20 households or it has not grown. Okay. From a planning point of view, it takes planning to another level. Okay, I'm going to move straight to, okay, these are the critical skill sets as far as drones are concerned. The first one is obviously flight operations, which is a drone pilot. We believe that this skill set, just like coding into the future, as we move into the not move into the fourth industrial revolution, maybe move into the fifth industrial revolution, but as we're in this space, we want to make drones boring, you know, because everybody when you talk about drones, you know, they light up, they're very excited. We want to make drones boring, because every time, even when you're in the township, when you hear a sound, you don't even look up, because you know it's something that is normal. When you see a car passing, you don't look up unless it's one of those rowdy cars. But what we want to do, we want drone flying, I'm talking now the legal part, drone flying to be as normal as seeing an aircraft. There are big opportunities there for drone pilots. But then there's regulations. You know, we need specialists in regulations. You know, there are companies in South Africa that specialize in nothing else but regulations, because we need to also try and move as a country at the same pace as technology, because the technology in drones is doing amazing things. Today, we're talking about the big thing now is in 2019 on drones is remote ID, because with DJI technology, I can basically pick up a serial number of a drone that is flying, as long as it's a DJI drone, and I can even locate who's flying the drone and where that person is, and I can take corrective action. Right now, without that, it's problematic, and that technology, people like ATNS need to have it. Hobbyists, okay, these are a big problem. This is where you have the clueless, the killers, and the downright criminal. Okay, only 1% of the drones are operated legally. The other 99%, yeah, they fall in some of them into this group. Some of them, unfortunately, they don't know that we even have regulations for drones, because we're not even controlling drones coming into the country. Nobody knows those drones that are coming in. And when you go and buy a drone, it's not like you're buying a cell phone where you've got to figure you and know where you live, but there's problematic as far as that's concerned. The FAA in the US, from February, they came up with a law that drones will have some kind of a number plate, so that whenever you see a drone, you look under it, you can take a picture, you can do whatever we want. But the general public needs to be educated about drones, because they don't know. They can't tell whether this person is flying legally or not. Particularly the law enforcement agencies. You call a Metro Police, they don't know what is happening. Counter drones, there's big technology around counter drones. It's something that has to be done from a safety point of view. People are dropping contraband in prisons. There's technology right now where you can create a dome, geofence. the whole airport precinct and make sure that drones don't come closer. You can even take this up to 10-kilometer radius. Hardware, yes, the biggest manufacturer of drone is a Chinese company, DJI. It's a big headache for Donald Trump, as DJI has got 80% of the market. There are some of the drones that are being manufactured in South Africa. There are opportunities. But when you talk the fourth industrial revolution, you've got to talk software. Because the value chain as far as drones are concerned, as the collection of data using the flight operations, as the processing of data where you take the data that you've collected and you do something with it. But the big value is in the data analytics and artificial intelligence, because the more the machine gets the data, the more it gets to learn. That's why a drone, you can even be able to fly it autonomously and do all sorts of things. I know this is the future. Drone, the air taxis and all of that, this is the future, but we are still here, and this is an area where the opportunities are. Some of the people will never have to fly drone. They're just going to get into this space because they're data scientists, they just want to work on data. Now let's look at this proposed program, which is we're looking at it as a 24-month program. First of all, we're going to onboard the participants and the recruitment, and next we do the training. The kind of training is going to be a pilot training, which is 6 to 8 weeks. It's not 6 to 8 years, 6 to 8 weeks. You can be able to get your pilot license. But all you have is just pilot license. We need to now take you to application training. Application training, we could decide that you are in agriculture, let's go and train you, because agriculture has got its own rules on how to handle chemicals. If you want to do crop spraying, we can teach you as far as that's concerned. If you want to do cinematography, video filming, that's what you can do. You can be trained as far as that's concerned. Then we take these people to business acceleration. Now, the first 6 months, from 1 to 3 is going to be the first 6 months. The second 6 months, we take you to business acceleration. Just like in an incubator, you learn about the business. But here we'll teach you how to run a drone business.